Welcome into the LL Sports Update Show. He is Jeff Reinhart. I am John Walk. We're talking PIAA state semifinal football games. Manheim Central and Manheim Township in huge games this weekend. We're both making the trip to Altoona along with any fans and teams that are going up there. We're going to start off with Manheim Central and Gateway on Friday night. Tell us about it.
Friday night, 7 o'clock, Mansion Park Stadium in Altoona. Cool atmosphere. Really cool atmosphere, and Central's familiar with that place. They played in 2009 there, and they beat West Allegheny. So, long trip, fun trip. Hopefully a lot of Lancaster County people get to go out and watch. If not, follow us all weekend for updates, for sure. Okay, Manheim Central, Friday night, 5A state semifinal against Gateway. The Gators are from the Whippeal, 13-1. Don Hall is the coach. One loss, they lost to Penn Trafford, 28-0 in a Whippeal game. Came back, played Penn Trafford again, and beat them 21-16 in the Whippeal final. So Gateway got a little revenge, and here they are in states playing the Barons. Manheim Central, exciting win last Friday at Hershey Park. Came back late to beat Governor Mifflin, 30-29. Wow. Great start for Central, 14-0. They're playing great. Mifflin came flying back. They get the lead. Central 2-minute drill towards the end of the game, 3 minutes left. Evan Simon to Vinnie Lester, touchdown. Little vintage Baron Manheim Magic time. It was great, great atmosphere. Defense played great at the end. Barons win 17 District 3 titles for Manheim Central. That's amazing, 17, wow. First one since 2009. That's the year they then went out to and beat West A, made the state finals, lost to Sealands Grove. So 13-0 Manheim Central. Got to mention Evan Simon, the quarterback. 5 weeks in a row, he's gone for 200-plus passing yards. Wow. Needs 63 yards this week to become Central's single-season passing yard record. Would snap Jeff Smoker's single-season record. Wow.
Really?
Really.
As a sophomore?
As a sophomore. So, I mean,
cow.
If you're breaking Jeff Smoker's record, anything, that's pretty impressive. So, Evan Simon can snap that this week. Mention Gio Lester. 95 rushing yards against Cocalico, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, filling in for Tyler Flick, who's out with the right elbow injury. Central's offense has been good, especially through the air, but this Gateway team, wow. I could read off stats here for 5 minutes. Brady Walker's the quarterback. He leads the Whippeal with 251 completions, 3,912 passing yards, and 40 touchdowns. He's been amazing. Brady Walker, so keep an eye on him. Coach Hahn said this week he likes to sling it. And apparently he can really sling it. Courtney Jackson's their top wideout, 80 catches, 1,600 yards, 21 touchdowns. So we've talked a lot about Manheim Central's defense this year. 21 interceptions, 30 takeaways, plus 10 or 11 in turnover margin. That group is really going to be tested here with Gateway's offense. These guys can really get it up and down, stretch the field. Coach Hahn said they'll throw a lot of bubble screens, a lot of slip screens, and this Jackson kid on the outside can really scoot and beat you deep. So crux this week will be Manheim Central's defense, which is #1 in the LL of all the teams, with 21 picks against this Gateway offense, which has been sizzling. So definitely keep an eye on that matchup. Manheim Central against Gateway Friday night at 7. Okay, Irene Snyder and I were over at Manheim Central this week. Irene caught up with Manheim Central coach Dave Hahn and with Barron's senior two-way threat, Garret Fittery. Irene, take it away with those interviews.
So talk to me about district championships. How do you feel about your team?
We're very excited about being a district champion. It's been a while since we've been a district champion, so to get back there and get that title, bring it back home, we're excited. And then to do it as an undefeated team, that's just icing on top of the cake, so we're excited.
And what does it mean to you then as a coach?
As a coach, I'm just happy for these kids. I didn't get into coaching for any kind of self-fulfilling thing. I got into it because I love the game and I like working with these kids. So that's what it means to me.
And then talk to me about Gateway and the next game that you're playing for state semifinals. How do you feel about preparing for that game and about the other team in general?
Gateway's a good team. They're fast. I think we might have the size advantage, so we have to make it a physical game. They're going to try to make it a speed game. Whoever can impose their will on the other team is going to be the team that's successful.
All right, so you're district championships. How does that feel? And you're also undefeated right now, so you must feel pretty good about your team?
Yeah, no, we feel good about it. We take every game one at a time, and we're ready to play next week.
And then you're playing Gateway next at the state semifinals. What do you have to do to prepare for that game? And talk about that team a little bit as well.
We know that we know they like to pass, so we're gonna we're going to watch the film and have a good game plan on defense, and we're going to have a good game plan on offense. Be ready for them.
Okay, Irene, thank you very much for those interviews. Manheim Central Gateway, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Altoona. Flip the script, Saturday, long weekend in Altoona. Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock kick. Manheim Township, Streaks coming off their first ever district championship. Tough test here. They get Pine Richland, the Whitfield champs, undefeated Whitfield champs. They are really, really good. Break down Township, Pine Richland, please.
Yeah, you would think Township's had a tough enough year already. They've beaten Central Dauphin twice, beaten Wilson twice. They beat Cumberland Valley, of all teams, in the district title game to win their first district title last week. The 12 wins are a single-season program record. By the way, Manheim Township coach Mark Evans, his 20th year overall as a football head coach. His 6th at Manheim Township. It's his first ever district title as a head coach there, so that's worth noting. Now it gets even tougher, and no doubt it's top 4 teams in the state. Any team that you're going to face is going to be pretty good. And Pine Richland, by the way, is a pretty good one. We'll start with their quarterback. Philip Jerkovich, already committed to Notre Dame. Guy's unreal. 3,683 passing yards, 36 touchdowns to 5 picks. Also has 1,031 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns. Ran all over State College a couple weeks back. So that guy's a dual threat, and he can sling it. And he has a couple awesome receivers, and Jason DeFrancis, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Raymond Falcone, which is an awesome name. Sounds like a mob guy or something like that. DeFrancis has over 1,000 yards. Falcone didn't play early in the year to injury. He's back. He has nearly 900 yards. All combined, those two receivers have 20 touchdown catches. So the Manheim Township secondary, Cam Horst, Grayson Saladay, Reese Bender, Brett Benjamin, and the rest, they're all going to be truly tested. They were tested last week, certainly. The Manheim Township stuffed that run against Cumberland Valley. We mentioned it last week. Cumberland Valley had that vaunted wing T running offense. Manheim Township D stuffed them, held them to under 100 yards rushing, and they finished with 90-something. So Cumberland Valley went through the air, and man, you couldn't play any better defense against the one Cumberland Valley receiver, Catcher, who's committed to Penn State. I think he only had like 5 grabs, but he had 140 receiving yards.
He's tough.
He was just unreal. You couldn't play any better man-to-man defense against that guy, and he still came down with catches. And now they're going to face 2 top receivers in Pine Richland. And, oh, by the way, Pine Richland's offensive line is incredible, at least on paper anyway. Andrew Kristofich, 6'6", 255-pound junior, has major college offers, is looking at Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pitt, West Virginia.
Wow.
He has a picture on his Twitter account of the offensive line after their win last week, and it looks like a college offensive line.
Oh,
but
boy.
You know what? Township has a big offensive line,
They
too. So maybe they match up evenly there. We know, at least offensively, Manheim Townships, they're going to get it done with quarterback Luke Emge, the Harvard commit. Grayson Saladay has just been fantastic. He had nearly 150 rushing yards and a score last week. And Emge and Saladay, man, those guys just stepped up in the clutch when they needed big drives, when they needed big plays, and they've just done it week after week. Right when you think, okay, this is it for Township, they lost all the momentum, those guys just stay cool, calm, under pressure, and they've handled it pretty well, I'd say. And I'm kind of curious how they're going to face. I was talking to Coach Evans last night, and Pine Richland shows both 4-3 and 4-4 front, so it's going to be different mix-up for them. So be interesting to see, they can get it done on the ground, they can get it done through the air for Township, but it's definitely going to be an awesome high school football game.
Should be great.
Obviously, Manheim Township in the state semifinals for the first time. This is the deepest any Streaks team has made it, and they're all excited about going to Tuna Town as we catch up with Manheim Township coach Mark Evans and defensive back Cam Horst. These are the interviews from Tuesday's practice. All right, so from the research I've done, obviously they have a really beefy offensive line. They have an awesome quarterback, awesome receivers. They're going to present a lot of challenges, but it's that time of the year. Any team that you face is going to present challenges. From what you've seen, how do you go about defensively preparing? Do you change anything up from what you've been doing, or you kind of stick to what's been working?
Well, again, we go back to the same thing we've talked to our guys about all year long, is just playing long, having proper execution. Just staying focused. When they make mistakes, you got to capitalize on them, and then play loose. We just got to do all those things and go out and just give it our best shot. They're a solid football team. I mean, there are 4 teams left still playing in 6A out of the 96. So you know what you're going to get. Everybody's good at this time, and I like our chances.
All right, so you set the program's record in single-season wins. You win the first District 3 title. You've accomplished a lot. You've made a lot of history-making things so far this season. How do you make sure these guys don't stay complacent just as far as they're satisfied getting this far? How do you keep pushing them forward?
Well, I think this group of young men have been pushing each other all year long. The other part is that they have a lot of fun together. And also we as coaches are doing a good job of keeping them motivated, giving them a new challenge each week, as well as having some fun with them too. So I think as long as we're continuing to maintain it's good fun and working hard, and I think that keeps the kids motivated in that way.
This team that you're going to face Saturday, we know about the quarterback, the Notre Dame commit. They have 2 awesome receivers. What kind of challenges does that present for you? Like, we know, like the team you faced last week, they have like 1 really awesome receiver, whereas now you got 2. Does that make any things a bit more difficult for you defending?
To be honest, I don't think it makes. I mean, obviously it's a little more difficult, but us as a secondary are really close, and we got a lot of stuff drawn up for the game, so I think that we'll be pretty well off if we do our job.
Coach was saying, new challenges, not staying complacent, is getting back to Hershey Park.
Yeah.
What's the conversation among you guys as players, not just to be satisfied in getting here?
Oh, we're looking to go all the way for sure. I mean, we're just 1 game away from going back to Hershey Park, and we liked it the first time, so why not again?
Okay, thanks a lot for those interviews. Can't wait. Should be an awesome weekend in Altoona. Manheim Central, Manheim Township. If they get wins, we'll see them in Hershey Park next week. Wow. Good luck, guys. Okay, enough high school football. Let's go Penn State. Mike Gross dropped by. No game this week for the Nits, but there's still a lot going on with the program and the team. Joe Moorhead, their awesome offensive coordinator, he takes a head coaching job at Mississippi State and the SEC. So Mike dropped by to talk about Coach Moorhead, what might be next, and some other Penn State tidbits as they wait to see who they're going to get in their bowl game. Mike Gross, take it away.
Penn State ends the regular season 10-2, headed to a bowl game somewhere around New Year's Eve. We think the most likely candidate is the Cotton Bowl against possibly an SEC or Big 12 opponent, somebody like Auburn or TCU. But that's not the big news right now as we talk about Penn State, because in the last 24 hours, news has broke that Joe Moorhead, the offensive coordinator who has had a huge impact on Penn State's program over the last couple of years, is headed to Mississippi State to be the head coach there. So James Franklin is going to have to make another grand slam hire. Some of the candidates, and I've written some names down here that are possible as the next offensive coordinator at Penn State. Ricky Ronnie on their current staff, who is the tight ends coach, a guy with an Ivy League background, a guy with a varied coaching background, considered a really bright guy whose career goal is offensive coordinator. It's not head coach, according to him. He would be one. Another one is Andrew Briner, who is the guy who kind of co-created Moorhead's offense at Fordham, and was the offensive coordinator with Moorhead when Moorhead was the head coach at Fordham, and is now the head coach at Fordham. He certainly is kind of the co-father of the Moorhead ball system, so he would have to be in there. I think there's a guy named Mike Yursich, who is a Pennsylvania Conference guy, a Shippensburg University offensive coordinator, who went straight from that job to offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State, and they've done a phenomenal job there. So he may be a guy who would want to return to Pennsylvania. And then finally, I would say Matt Limegrover, a guy who has been on their current staff, the offensive line coach, was the offensive coordinator at Minnesota before he came to Penn State. So those are some names. There are many more. James Franklin, I guarantee you, has a list of 30 or more. We're about to find out who's going to take Penn State's offense into the next phase of the program under James Franklin. I'm Mike Gross for lancaster-online.com.
All right, it'd be interesting to see all the moving parts for Penn State moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And it's definitely going to be an interesting weekend for both of us. Check out all of our coverage from Altoona on Friday and Saturday by staying tuned to lancaster-online.com. Follow both of us on Twitter as well. We'll be up there for both of the games. Oh, and by the way, Lancaster-Lebanon League Football All-Star Banquet is Wednesday night, so by the time you guys are watching this video, we should have all the All-Star lists, Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, all that stuff posted on lancasteronline.com, so make sure to check all of that out. All right, Jeff, another fun week coming up for us. He's Jeff Reinhart. I'm John Walk. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching.